When our adopted daughter turned 20 and met her real parents, she left us, but they kicked her out when she got pregnant. She begged to come live with us by knocking on my door and crying. How are you, Reddit? I'm having a hard time right now with my adopted daughter Jackie, who is 20 years old. For almost a year and a half, my wife 44F and I 45M had trouble getting pregnant. Finally, we adopted Jackie when she was born. We couldn't get in touch with her real parents after she was born because the adoption was over. We didn't know where they were or what they were doing for the past few years. We wanted to tell her the truth and be honest with her. We told her she was adopted when she was 6 years old. She also doesn't look anything like us, so I'm sure she'll have questions about it when she gets older, or even worse, she might be picked on because of it. It's best for her to know the truth ahead of time. Even after being told the truth, not much changed. But when she turned 17, she started to say she wanted to see her real parents. It wasn't clear to us because we were having a hard time with things at the time. As we said, she doesn't look anything like us. But that's really Anne. Not saying enough. We don't look much alike because she has dark hair and I am white. Even though we all know about negative genes and all that, high school kids can be really mean when they want to. I have blue eyes and my wife has green eyes. Her eyes are dark brown. Someone at her high school came up with the idea that she is probably having a fair baby. There was no truth to the rumor, but for some reason it spread. A lot of people heard about it, and she started getting picked on at school. Like most people, she had been adopted. They seemed to completely ignore that fact in order to make fun of her, even though she knew they did. She put on a strong face and ignored the abuse for a few months, until her boyfriend broke up with her because of the mean comments people were making about them. At the time, Jackie's boyfriend was Hispanic. Even though Jackie was clearly Caucasian like us, many people thought they might be related because Jackie has dark hair and eyes and my wife is said to be promiscuous. She didn't have many friends, and her whole year had been bad against her, so being turned down was the last straw for her. She wouldn't let us do anything because she believed it would make things worse. We wanted to talk to her school's officials about it so they could do something about it, or maybe even move her. The lies and bullying had gotten out of hand. For a few months, we let her handle things on her own. But when her boyfriend broke up with her, we knew we had to protect our daughter, even if she didn't want us to. People at the school were told about how the bullying was affecting her mental health in order to get the school management and teachers to do something. After that, though, Jackie told us that even though people had been, when they were mean to her before, they started acting like she was crazy and would lose it if they said anything to her. I think this made things worse for her. So when she was around, they would avoid her and look at her funny. We only wanted what was best for her, but she started to blame us for being left out of social circles, even though we weren't trying to be mean. But we were wrong about how mean high school kids can be. I guess that was where we went wrong. She was very angry with us for a while, but then things started to get better at school. This made her mood better at home, and we saw that she was starting to. Please forgive us. When her birthday came around, we planned something really special to make her forgive us and get back to our normal relationship, instead of the tense one we had to have because she was mad. She turned 16, so we threw her a big party, all out for her, and had all of her friends over. She was thrilled because it finally helped her get over the bullying she had been through a few months before. Teenagers and young adults in high school can act without thinking. They forget the problems they cause others and can quickly become friends or enemies. It seemed like everything was going well until a few weeks after her birthday, when she told us something, that she would have to get us another gift before she could forgive us. For years, she had been thinking why she had been given up for adoption. Now that she was old enough, she wanted to know. And that gift would be putting her in touch with her birth parents so she could get to know them and find out why she had been given up for adoption. Since Jackie and I had just started getting along better at home, we weren't sure what to think when she asked to be put in touch with her real parents. We were afraid that something bad would happen when she found out who her real parents were. She would no longer want to live with us if we did something wrong. We were still shocked from being involved in the school bullying story, so they could be better than us in some way. We were a little afraid of what might happen, to be honest. We couldn't stop her from going after her goals, so we pushed her along and put her in touch with the adoption agency so she could talk to them. After a few weeks, we finally heard from them. They told us that she would not be able to see her birth parents that year because they were not ready. Jackie hurt and felt rejected, and she was very sad. So, We were there for her through everything, and after a few months she forgot about it. We all went back to our normal lives, and she tried to forget about what happened until lately, when the adoption agency called her again to tell her that her real parents were finally ready to talk to her. This happened at the start of the year, about 7 months ago, and it shocked us a lot. We had all forgotten about it, to be honest. That being said, Jackie was happy for her when she heard from the adoption agency that her real parents were willing to talk to her. We were also thrilled for her because her health was the most important thing to us. As you might expect, my husband and I were still very worried about what might happen, but we trusted her because she was our daughter and would never hurt us. We were wrong about that, though, because she moved out of her parents' house 2 months after meeting them for the first time. Nicole had been living with us since she graduated from high school because she didn't want to waste money on rent and instead focus on her job. We were told that she would start applying to colleges after taking a year off from school. We think she had saved enough money, but it had been over 2 years since she graduated from high school, and she had no plans to move out or even apply to college. After all these years of working as a receptionist, we thought she had at least enough money to move out and start living on her own. Before they finished, they never had to pay for food, rent, or other bills. It had been a while since we had talked to her about these things. Before her real parents got in touch with her, my wife and I tried to get her to make some changes in her life. We didn't think it was cool to be freeloaders, and we thought she should at least try to help us out by paying our rent or finding some other way to do so. As she said in the letter she left for us, this seems to have been a big reason why she chose to leave. We didn't listen in on her when she met her real parents for the first time because she insisted on keeping everything about them secret, as they had asked. Just 2 months after meeting them more often, she stopped. She left her parents' house in the middle of the night, leaving only the letter I noted earlier. In it, she said that she had told her parents about her problems and that they had asked her to come stay with them, which she did. They said she told them it was hard to stay with us because we were always bothering her and telling her to start applying to schools, get a job, or just do something. She thought she had enough to do already, so it was too much. She also felt bad saying no to us because we had raised her and everything. Even though we had jobs, it wasn't like we couldn't do it. We couldn't afford the way of life we wanted and had to depend on her for rent. She didn't want to pay anything else because she thought it would be a waste of her money. In the letter, she said that she knew our goals were good because we thought that putting pressure on her to go to college or start handling her money would be good for her. But by getting involved, we were making things worse and making her more angry, which is what we did when she was being bullied in high school. She didn't want us to contact her for a while because she needed some time to herself before getting back in touch with us. They offered to let her stay with them for free. It was a big surprise because we thought that, because of her age, she wouldn't have liked it if we tried to get her to do something instead of just sitting around doing nothing. She told us that her plan was to work as a receptionist for a few months after high school to save money for the future. After that, she would either start looking for a raise or start applying to colleges. However, neither of those things had happened, and it didn't look good that she wasn't even trying to make things better and was relying on her parents for help. We didn't want her to stay where she was, so we thought that by pushing her towards something good for herself, we were also making the case that she should have finished school or started to take her job more seriously. If we knew that, we would not have done that, but when she left, we made a lot of money. Tried to get in touch with her, but she never replied. We tried to get in touch with her by phone, text, and email, but we were blocked on all of them. We were furious about it for the first few months, but as time went on, we grew angry. It dawned on my spouse and me that everything we had done up to that point had been done with the best of intentions. When we tried to protect her by telling the school officials about how unfairly she was treated, we really thought that things would get better for her. In addition, it was clear that her plan to keep things the same was not working. Before, we had only told her to get better because we knew she was capable of more, and that she was wasting her potential by staying at her job as a clerk without trying to do better. Since we were always here for her, she wasn't even really in need of money. But after she started making money, she stopped being careful with it because all she did was go out with her friends after work. Oh, thank goodness she could still save. But she wouldn't know how to handle her money until she started living a more normal life and paying for things like rent, bills, and other costs. We had been trying to talk to her in that way, but she was so mad at us for being selfish that she had to run away and live with her real parents. As my husband and I have thought about what she did over the last few months, we can see how self-centered she was. By the time she came back, we were pretty happy with her. When she did, she shocked us by telling me she was going to have a baby. Saturday or Sunday, this happened, and Jackie was definitely crying when my wife opened the door. Jackie was sitting with her, packing bags. Janet was crying as I went to the door. She told us that she was coming back for good and would never leave our side again because she knew that we only wanted the best for her and would always be her parents. It really shocked us and left us speechless. After telling us that things had been going well at first, she said that she got pregnant after living with her birth parents for 5 months. She told us that she put it off for a few weeks because she was afraid to tell her folks. She finally did it last week. Last month, she found out on her own that she was pregnant. We asked her for more information about the baby, but she refused. They got into an angry fight over how she hid her pregnancy, how they didn't like the fact that she was pregnant without being married, and how she wanted to keep the child even though she didn't want to get married. She knew that we would always accept her because we were her real parents, so she packed up her things and came back here after they made it clear that they would not be helping her and that she needed to leave. She broke down in tears and gave my wife a hug, telling us that leaving us had been terrible. Mistake. But she knew what she did wrong and would not do it again. But I didn't believe she was serious, so I gave her the note she had left for us in my office and told her to read it again and think about what she had said. It was in her letter that she said she bought some space from us. Now that we want to be able to return that space to her, she can come back and start making her own choices. After that, I slammed the door, and that was the last time we heard from her until this morning, when Nicole texted my wife. Because her real folks were being nice to her, she got tired of us bothering her all the time. She had cleared the way for us everywhere and told us she understood that the fact that she was angry didn't change the fact that she was in a different frame of mind when she left. She was just excited about the new situation and lost control. Though she now knows that we have always had her best interests in mind, and as her parents we get to give her another chance to prove that she is not as self-centered as we think she is. I'm not sure if my wife wants us to give her another chance. At this point, it doesn't seem like the right thing to do. Ida, because she wouldn't let my pregnant adopted daughter come back to live with us after 4 months with her birth parents. Update 1. Hey, thanks for all the comments on our first post. I told my wife what was going on in my mind and that I still didn't fully trust Jackie. Furthermore, we were sure that she had a job, and since she was rich, it would not have been hard for her to find a place of her own. The woman would need money if she needed it after giving birth. We wouldn't be mean to help her with that because we're not really mean. She does have to show us, though, that she isn't just coming back because her parents kicked her out. We also need to find out who the baby's father is and what's going on with him. I don't think we can make a decision until we know everything that has happened. She hasn't even tried to tell us everything, but we don't know it. I don't even think that's something we should do. After giving it some thought, my wife agreed with me. It would be incredibly stupid of us to just take her back because her original parents kicked her out and she left us. I know that a lot of people think we were bad parents because we spoke up about her school problems, bullying, and other things even though she told us not to. Many people thought we were being unfair to her because we didn't want to support her just because she was making money and told her to start applying to colleges or find another job. But I don't think our parents will feel bad about what we did because we did everything we could to keep her on the right path. Some people might think we're wrong for not forgiving her and taking her back yet, but that doesn't bother us. Even though we are her parents, we have hurt feelings too, just like everyone else. Before we think about helping her, she needs to show us what she can do. She's back because she really cares about us and feels bad about leaving us and not talking to us for a few months. We told my wife the same thing when she said it, because we think it's the best thing to do right now. Our first goal is for her to try living on her own, find an apartment, and get used to a normal routine. Once she has done that, we will be happy to help her if she needs it. She also has to tell us more about how she got pregnant, who the baby's father is, and other things that are connected. If she's ready to stop relying on us all the time, follow those rules and do the right thing, we can talk. Change 2. It's been 3 days since we sent Jackie that message. She answered to us last night that she was ready to rent an apartment because she and her boyfriend were going to do it anyway if we didn't let her come back. Of course she is seeing this guy. His parents are friends of her parents and are related to him. During her time living with them, they met a few times and quickly became friendly. This led to them starting to date. She later got pregnant by accident but chose to keep the baby. He also decided that he wanted to be a part of the baby's life. But since they've only been dating for a few months, they are only getting to know each other better so that they can think about getting married someday. They didn't like it because they are very traditional and wanted her to get married before having a kid. A long fight broke out over it, and because Jackie and their son's friends supported their choice to stay single, they ended up cutting ties with them. While she was still determined not to give up, her real parents told her she could no longer live with them. After living with her boyfriend and his family for a few days, she realized how long she had been living with her choice. She decided to get in touch with, to make things right. Nicole also told us that she wanted to move back in with us to make up with us, get in touch with her real parents, and accept she had done something wrong. Still, she respected our choice and told us she knew we didn't trust her. Furthermore, she reassured us that she wasn't just coming back because her parents had made her leave, and that she was ready to do anything to prove that she had admitted she was wrong. It was clear that there was more to it than that, and she wanted us to know that she was sorry. Of course, that had helped her see what she had done wrong and acted as a trigger. She is now going to start looking for an apartment without her boyfriend, with the plan of moving in with him. She even said he could come see us whenever we wanted. We are only asking that we give her another chance. The other person and I have talked about it, and while we really value her opinion, we need some time to decide what to do. 3 months later, my partner and I decided to get in touch with Jackie again and thank her for trying to solve her problem on her own instead of asking us to help her. It was also clear to her that we still took some time to think about things. That was 2 days ago, but she said she was fine with it today. Her only wish was for us to understand that, just like the last time we accepted her, she would be waiting for us to accept her. There were a lot more things she wrote in the letter she sent us, but most of them were just sorry for what she had done to hurt us. She told us she was truly sorry for hurting us, and that maybe all we wanted for her was the best, and that we wanted to help her make the right choices in life. She told us that most of the time, things were pretty easy when she lived with her birth parents. She felt like something was missing that she had always felt with us. Without fail, she was sure that we wanted her to be there and loved her, no matter how much we annoyed her. She didn't feel that way about her real parents, though. Instead, she felt like a guest in their house. It was clear that she had done something wrong, but she promised to do everything she could to make things right, starting with living up to our standards of her. We wanted her to get a place of her own and live on her own. Learn how to live on her own so that she doesn't have to depend on us all the time. Now she was going to act the same way, though maybe not exactly the way we had expected, since she would still be pregnant and probably still need our help, but it was still a good start. We are therefore hope for the best for her, and one day we may feel safe enough to try getting in touch with her again. It makes us feel great to know that she truly apologizes and that we are ready to give her another chance. We especially want to do this because we are going to have a kid soon and want to see if the 3 of us can raise a family well. Version 4. Hello everyone, men. We are the happiest grandparents in the world right now because Jackie just gave birth to a healthy baby. We sent out our last report a few months ago, but we were very busy at the time. We did make up with Jackie because a few weeks later we decided to call her and ask her to put us in touch with her partner. We planned to get together again for dinner a few weeks after my last post here. She and her partner were fun to be around. The way they looked at each other made it clear that they loved each other, and we tried not to talk about our problems when her partner was around. After everything she had done, she thanked us for giving them a chance. But as we were talking at the door after dinner, her partner left to go sit in the car. She started crying again and told us, and everyone else, how thankful she was to have parents like us. She said she had been so wrong about everything, too, even when they were always looking out for her. She didn't even know what was best for her, like taking matters into our own hands at school and telling her to take better care of herself now. We did everything we could to be good parents, but she let us down as a daughter. That being said, she wanted to change now that she was going to be a mom, and she was glad we gave her the chance to show how mature she had become. I remember every word of that talk because it was so sweet. After that, we started getting together more often, and we all her checkups and trips to the hospital. She finally gave birth about 2 weeks ago, and we've all been thrilled ever since. Her boyfriend has also asked for our permission to ask for her hand in marriage. He plans to do this in a few weeks, but she doesn't know it yet. We're happy for them because our families are already very close. We're sure she can't wait either, since having a child has only made their bond stronger. It's also really pretty. Things are getting better for our family, and we're loving our greater freedom as grandparents. We are glad we gave Jackie another chance, even though most people might not agree with us. We think she has really changed, and we are very proud of her.